What is up, guys? JaretCampisi back with my good buddy Dado for another episode of the Carbon V4 series. If you don't know what that is, it's basically a series where we take this beautiful, slightly disassembled Panigale V4S model, we customize it with the support of our patrons, and then we give it away when we're done. If you guys want to be entered to win this bike and help support and make these series possible, head on over to patreon.com/Campisi Customs. It'll always be the first link in the description below. As you can see, we've got quite a bit of work to do, so we're just going to hop right on into this one. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the episode. So, if you saw the last episode, you know that we installed a $5,500 full titanium akrapovic exhaust system. We got all the pipes on, but we didn't actually technically finish the install, so that's kind of what we're going to be doing today. We're going to be buttoning things up, deleting the charcoal canister, rerouting all these wires, replugging everything in, reattaching the fans and the radiator and the ABS unit and all that kind of stuff, getting it to a point where maybe we can start it up. Actually, no, we won't be able to start it up until we put a tank on it. But that's gonna come because I have surprises coming for you guys as well, which will start in the next episode, I promise. One of the things we noticed, since we were dead ass tired from the last episode, we were missing some springs that we didn't install 2 of them, and we are just doing that right now. Dado actually already put one on, and he's reaching way inside there trying to install a second one. So that's what's going on right now. What's up, teens?
The manager has something to say.
The manager has something to say? Oh shit, are we all in trouble? Are we getting fired? Are we getting fired right now? Dozer, what the hell are you doing, bud?
He's eating grass.
Dozer, are you eating grass? What's wrong with
You're
you?
not feeding him enough.
He's like, oh, I need to get my greens in. I'm getting too damn fat. He's on a strict grass diet, salads. All right, screw you then. Oh yeah, if anybody needs a lawnmower from 1956, Dado's got it.
No,
But yeah, putting springs on, and then we're gonna start the reassembly of the front end of this exhaust system, so stay tuned. All right, Teens is pumping up the bike for us. We're gonna see if we can get in there and get that spring. Hey, she's wearing a Ducati shirt. I'm so proud of you, babe. You're growing up so fast. No bikini for today. Too many people were complaining. So we went with, oh! No?
No.
Damn. Never mind. Go to her channel, there's plenty of bikini try-ons on there. People always say, why are you using your girlfriend for views? Blah, blah, blah. Don't you feel bad she's in a bikini? She is literally a bikini model. That's what she does.
I lost the manager.
So we're not, uh-oh, better go find him. Manager's gone. So it looks like we're actually gonna have to take some stuff apart to get this spring in. The weird thing is we were following the directions step by step, and they actually never even mentioned putting these springs on. So it's not like it's something we screwed up. I mean, I guess technically we did, but you know, it happens when you're wrenching on an exhaust for 7 freaking hours with 400 different parts. But you know what? We're not so prideful that we won't admit when we make mistakes. As long as things aren't broken, we're happy, right?
It's Jared's fault.
It's my fault. It's the manager's fault. All right, so the last spring is right there. Now we can finally get to it. Ah, and there it is. So now technically the hardware of the exhaust is now, well, I guess once we put back on that piece we just took off, the hardware will be complete.
We're gonna have to wipe this down because certain people counted how many times my sausage fingers touched the exhaust. It's okay, you just don't want to finger the whole exhaust while you're holding it. Touching it here and there is okay. We can wipe it down with acetone, it'll blue in perfect.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna do that next.
Yep. So we had a bunch of people hit us up saying they love, okay, that's a lot of vodka.
I like to get Dado drunk.
Holy shit!
I already had one.
We're mixing some vodka. He's having a vodka coffee. I'm doing a vodka with tonic and some other stuff in it. But
straw.
I threw it out. He doesn't want it. He's a man. He doesn't use straws. Okay?
Plus they're banned.
Just know your place.
They're banned.
They're banned in Santa Barbara. But people were saying they love drinking with us, cracking open beers with us when we drink. So I thought, you know what? We'll mix a little drink here. We'll do a little cheers to everybody drinking. All you alcoholics at home.
Yeah, here guys.
Cheers, right?
Dado's gonna fall
To
right
bikes,
over.
to bikes, beers, and babes. I gave Christina one job to do. I said, can you mix a couple drinks for us? She literally, I just took a sip of Dado's drink and almost fell over on the ground.
Mix.
Is that why? Go ahead, you take a sip of it. Go ahead. Come on, you're Russian, you like vodka. Take a sip.
I don't drink coffee.
You can't take a sip.
Perfect excuse.
That's what we're dealing with. How's it taste now, Dado?
Amazing.
It's gonna be amazing. If the bike falls apart rolling down the road, you know who to blame.
Oh, that's actually perfect.
Oh, is it?
I'm gonna die.
So one thing that's really good to do after you work with titanium, whether you touch it or not, wipe it down with some acetone, and these are special fabric paper towels, or not normal paper towels, so don't have to complain about it. But yeah, it just gets all the oils off of it. Make sure that when it blows in and it colors, that it colors nicely. You don't get those dirty ass purple colors. It's still going to go through all different types of heat cycling anyway, but look at it, we didn't even touch this, and look at how dirty that is. So highly recommend, if you ever install a titanium system, wipe it off with some acetone after you're done. All right, getting the heat shields refitted back on there, and then we can start to finish the exhaust assembly. Fucking 30 hours later. All right, so now the reassembly begins of all the secondary parts. We're gonna reattach the rear master cylinder, and then we can start moving forward with the fans, the ABS unit, the charcoal, the rerouting all the wires, etc. So one little thing at a time. We're gonna make sure that we take our time and we do everything right, because this is really the most important part of probably the entire build. So that's why we're really taking our time with this. So for all of you watching who are super OCD like me, seeing a bike in pieces like this drives me freaking bananas. So
I like it.
Being able to put them back together just makes me feel so good with every single bolt that goes in. I feel just a little bit. Well, we found Teens' new booby tassels. The V4 fans. Teens, try them out.
I gotta get on Dada's level.
Are you gonna try them out?
They look too big.
They look too big. Have you seen your boobs lately? Things are massive. Booby tassels, booby tassels.
Ducati, you need some content for commercials.
There you go.
Try the other way.
Try out the new V4 fans.
Go that way.
Flip them around.
There you go.
There you go. That way.
But why that way?
Because now they actually
Because it
fit.
fits better.
There you go. Look at that. Booby tassel fans.
We should make a bra.
Teeny top.
If anybody has an extra V4 fan set, we need it for a bra.
We need it for Teens' brawl. Alright, so before we slide the fans in, obviously you're supposed to take the front wheel off, take the radiator off and all that. The reason they want you to do that is so you don't scratch the shit out of the radiator fins. So what we did is we put this piece of, what is it?
It's like a melamine.
Okay, a piece of melamine, you can see right here, and we taped it in there. Really thin sheet of kind of like a plasticky thing that's going to cover the radiator. So when we're sliding this in, we're not destroying the fins. So if you're doing your own install, make sure you do not destroy your radiator fins. This is tight. Oh my god.
You want me to do it?
Yeah.
Alright, you come back here, put your hands on, pull back.
Oh, that's my finger. Ow. Sorry. Fuck. So we got the fans through. It was a bitch, but we got it. Next thing we're gonna do is remove the tape and the plastic piece, and then we can start putting everything back together. All right, slowly gonna start putting all this back together, starting with reattaching the radiator, and then we'll reattach the fans, then we'll plug in all the fan harnesses, and we'll be one step closer to being able to turn this thing back on. Okay, so next thing we're doing, the fans, obviously he's got them in on his side. We don't have them in on our side yet. We're reattaching the bottom oil cooler. And then we gotta fit these little bushings, metal, what are they? Bushings or whatever? They slide all the way in or what?
You have to line them up perfectly.
Okay.
It has to go through the whole...
You're probably gonna have to do mine because I don't think I got it lined up.
I don't think I can do that.
Oh god. Getting there.
If you want to see how it's done, mine's complete.
Yeah, that's how it's supposed to look. Alright, so right side of the fan assembly is going back together. We got the bottom radiator oil cooler on. And we're slowly just working away on it. Next will probably be the all the fan harness plugs and things like that. Then we'll get the ABS unit going. Slow and steady, guys. Slow and steady. If Dada would get his big sausage fingers out of the way, I could show you something. He's plugging in the
You want your fans to work or
the
not?
right-hand fan assembly. It's So that's plugged in, and then this is cool that I saw, he noticed stuff like that clips right back on there. Like I would never even notice stuff like that, but when you're tearing stuff apart since you're 5 years old, you notice stuff like that. That's why he's a master mechanic.
Who's 5?
Since you're 5. All right, finally get to release the ABS sensor from the monkey bars, and it's starting to look kind of like a bike again. How about it?
How about it?
How about it? We're starting to put back together the ABS unit, and we're gonna start connecting some of the stuff back. Some of the things have connectors, like this one, for example, that you're just kind of like connecting off. You're no longer using whatever was there before. So that'll just keep it from basically throwing any check engine lights or anything like that, or getting stuff inside of it. Simple. And we're just gonna keep, basically we're back with the directions now, with the acro directions, so we're just gonna follow along and make sure we do everything right. And this is kind of time consuming stuff. As you can see, quite a bit of directions. What page is this?
54.
Yeah, and I think we have 68 pages to get this back together. All right, so next step is actually refitting the entire ABS kind of like plastic control unit thing here. Some parts have to get fitted onto rubber grommets, like he just did there. And then other parts have to be, yeah, there we go, fitted back in there. Then we can screw it back down.
Actually, we need a drink first.
Yes, we do. So we were looking for bolts here and we couldn't find them. And then I remembered we bagged and tagged everything. And he's like, I need ABS stuff. Boom.
You know why this bag is here?
ABS bracket. Abs.
Because it's my abs bracket.
So we found the bolts we needed just like that. That's why you always bag and tag, especially when there's days, sometimes even weeks that go by. You're never gonna remember where those bolts go, even as good as Otto's sausage fingers are. All right, so we realized that there was a piece in the directions that they didn't do a good job explaining. It goes actually behind the ABS unit and it gets heat shielded, and I think that's to save it from heat from the exhaust would be my guess, right? So we're gonna put this heat shielding onto this extra piece, and then it's a bracket that goes, yep, behind and slides in there. So taking shit back apart again.
We're gonna clean this off really well before we put the sticky stuff on.
So Dada just cleaned this bad boy up and applied the heat shielding, and then we'll be able to attach that to the ABS bracket and then reinstall it.
All right, Jaret sucks. So the original piece, the reason why it's this big is because the ABS pump sits up here and the servo motor sits on the bottom. And what they give you is this box, which is essentially the top piece here without the bottom. And then you put the heat shielding on like I did. And instead of adding these two together, you just take this one out, put this one in. You use the rubber grommets, which I'm going to pull out. And then this part basically eliminates all this bottom section.
Saves more space and weight.
Lets it breathe. You can hide your weed in there.
Perfect.
I put the OEM bushing and the grommet in there. This bolt will hold everything together for the assembly. And then I loosen up this bolt and the grommet on this side, so whenever this fits in, I can tighten it all up. And then we should be ready for reassembly.
The one last thing we also just noticed is you want to swap the OEM grommet over there so that when you push it up on there, that thing doesn't rattle and also fits nice and tight. So we got everything swapped. Now we're going to start putting screws in. I love it. Anytime you can save weight and space, I'm all for it. So I'm glad that we swapped it over. Next step is reattaching some of the zip ties. This one is for, I'm not even sure what that thing is called. Do you know?
It's a thingamahooger.
Some sort of big ass line. I don't know.
It's actually an oil switch.
Oh, okay.
That's what it looks like.
I can't see shit behind your big sausage fingers.
Listen,
Look at those.
I'm trying
things.
to do work.
Look at those things. The caveman fingers. But that's what we're doing. Zip ties. It's boring, but it's my life. Next step is another piece provided by Acra. It's a piece that goes on right there, and it basically keeps the fairing, I think, touches this, and it keeps the fairing from like rattling or getting scratched up or anything like that. So you're supposed to add adhesive to it. That's what he's doing right now, and then we're going to stick that puppy on and keep rolling.
All right, next thing is the harness plug for the fans. So this part slides over this plastic groove here and sits in place like that.
Yep.
And the harness end plugs in like that, nice and tight. And then the leftover connector, I was just gonna shove it in here, but I don't know if any of these surfaces get hot. So what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna fold it. We're gonna put some electrical tape on it and we're gonna find it a nice little home right here so it's out of the way. Maybe I'll zip tie it in.
Yeah, I like
Hold it
that.
together. All right, one thing to note, whenever these wires are hanging out for this extra connector that used to go to the servo motor, make sure that nothing sticks close to these fan blades. Otherwise, you're gonna be hearing some crazy things. Did you ever, as a kid, have a bicycle and you put like the playing card into the spokes to hear that
Yes.
cool noise?
Yes.
This is the same noise, but it's not so cool.
Yeah, because bad things are gonna happen. All right, so the right side is finally done. Look at how nice and clean that is. Everything looks so good. Dado freaking crushed it, and I'm very happy. So let's move on to the left-hand side. All right, so the last thing we're gonna do today is tackle this mess of wires over here. Obviously, we do not need the charcoal canister anymore. So basically, we're gonna be rerouting wires. We're gonna be using plugs to plug things that we don't need anymore, and we're gonna take it step by step based on these here directions.
Look at this.
Feed me.
All right, instructions show us we take these aftermarket clips with zip ties on them. We take these OEM clips out. These clips clip on there. These wires get nicely tied up right there. So that's what we're gonna do next. Cool. So next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna take the front sensor unit. We're gonna run the wires there and back because the plug is right here. I'm gonna plug that sucker in. That'll go right there. All these wires will sit right about there, nice and neat. We'll zip tie this in, and then we move on to the next thing. Here's two cable rings. One goes right here on this screw, and the other one goes up here on this screw. And we have new supplied screws with Loctite on them. Once you put the cable rings on there, ensure that every single cable that goes up is routed through them.
Okay, we got all the cables ran through it. First one's going in. It looks so good. Look at that. I love cables being routed nicely. It makes me feel safe when I'm riding.
And
When
away
I'm
from the
doing
exhaust.
When I'm doing smackdowns on 650, I like my cables to be nice and safe.
Comment below if you think he's right.
So officially removing the charcoal canister. We're just sick of it flopping around and slamming into our hands. That's what she said. Get that out of here. So again, if you're keeping track, the entire servo motor is now gone. And now the entire charcoal canister is also gone. Just removing weight off this, letting it breathe. It's super heavy. It's the heaviest charcoal canister ever.
In the world. Next up is the purge valve connector plug. And all it is, simply a plug with silicone inserts to not let dirt and water in there so it doesn't short out. It also has a little slider here for you to attach it somewhere. We have no freaking idea where. But this end here from the charcoal canister gets plugged right in if you don't drop it. So here's the plug. Let's see if it fits. Bless you.
We're trying to work here,
Boom,
Christina.
done. Ready?
Yep.
All right, where's it go? My guess is we put it up against the harness and we zip tie it.
I like it.
Because this looks like it slides onto a flat piece, which is non-existent.
It's removed. That piece has been removed.
We got a second bracket going on here. The point for these brackets is to keep these wires away from all the heat. So we're gonna put that on, then I'm gonna zip tie the plug and the second connector that's sitting here. I'm gonna zip tie those together so it's nice and neat. So here we go.
Makes me feel so good.
I know it's
Look at that. Damn, look how clean that is now.
so tidy.
Hell yeah.
So we're gonna zip tie these on and then we move on.
So we're just adding some extra zip ties to even tidy it up even more because we're about that tidy life. How about it?
Tidy life.
Boom. Love it. Look at that. Amazing.
Make sure everything is nice, tight, away from all the heat, because all the heat's gonna be down here. And on to the next.
What are we doing, Dado?
I'm gonna open this baggie up. Instructions say tapo fur tube. It's a plug. It's a tiny little plastic plug. And that plugs off the line that runs to the charcoal canister.
Yep.
Or it used to run to the
So
charcoal
fumes
canister.
don't go all over the place and make the bike explode.
Yeah, no explosions, please.
No explosion.
Make sure that's no explosion.
No explosion.
So that fits in there nice and tight. It won't
Yep.
come out. And we're just kind of gonna let that sit there. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get electrical tape and tape that because I'm anal like that,
Yeah,
just in case.
I agree. So just adding electrical tape around that purge valve plug, just to be safe, because we're all about being safe.
Double safe.
Yeah,
So now it's nicely sealed off.
perfect.
And it says to zip tie it to this wiring harness here, but we also have another line coming down and we want to see if we need to zip tie that down first.
Yeah.
So we're going to check that out. If not, we're just going to zip tie this together so it's nice and tidy. And then we're going to move on to the next step, 500 steps later.
All right, so we've tackled everything we need to tackle today. We got all the lines rerouted with the charcoal canister and stuff like that. These other two lines we're gonna tackle when we get to the tank, but before that we're gonna have to do the subframe, which will happen in the next episode. So that's where we're gonna stop for today. We didn't get a chance to do the Sprint air filter, but we'll do that in another episode coming up. And we also have frame covers. We also have carbon frame covers that we're gonna be putting on this bad boy, but we'll do that in the future as well. So I think that's where we're gonna stop for now. So there you go, guys. I know these probably aren't the most fun episodes, but unfortunately, when it comes to putting on a full Acra exhaust on the V4, there's a lot involved, and we really want to take our time, make sure we do things correctly, because obviously this is not our motorcycle once we're done with this thing. So we're just taking our time and make sure it's all done right. Next episode, we will have a surprise for you guys, so I hope you're excited. We're going to be able to start the rear subframe, and then that will be followed by the tank, and then we'll start to really have some fun and some cool content on the way. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I hope you're learning stuff. I know I certainly have.
I have.
Yeah, I think we've all learned something. Again, if you want to be entered to win this bike, head on over to the Patreon page. It's always the first link in the description below. So give the video a thumbs up if you guys enjoyed it. Subscribe for more. Shout out to Dado for crushing it as always. He's got the patience of a freaking mule.
What?
I don't know. And thank you, Christina, for filming. We'll see you guys in the next one. Damn it. It's just so mule. That outro sucked. Oh my god. It's so mule. I don't know. I love it.